Hello there, you're watching Bhutan This Week with me, Sonam Wongdi. Our top stories this week: Prime Minister urged governments across the world to focus on people's happiness. All schools under the WFP feeding program to receive fortified rice. And country's first Yak Breeding Center to cost over 9 million NGT. Prime Minister Singh Tobge urged governments to focus on happiness and well-being of people. He was speaking at the opening session of the first Global Happiness Dialogue in Dubai, UAE. Prime Minister said it is important for the government to take happiness seriously and to create happiness for its people.
His Majesty the King.
Prime Minister began his address by showing pictures. This one was taken by His Majesty the King during one of the royal tours. Prime Minister emphasized on how visionary monarchs are working hard to create happiness for the people of Bhutan.
We do have our constraints, but we've been blessed with extraordinary leaders. Our enlightened kings have consistently made the happiness of the people their overarching priority. This was most clearly demonstrated when, way back in the 1970s, our fourth king famously pronounced that for Bhutan, gross national happiness is more important than gross national product.
He said if the basic purpose of development were changed from the pursuit of profit to the pursuit of well-being in all its dimensions, the true level of happiness in the planet would certainly go up.
His Majesty the King has reminded us that G&H simply means development with values, and that G&H is a bridge between the fundamental values of kindness, equality and humanity and the necessary pursuit of economic growth.
The World Government Summit is being attended by more than 4,000 participants from 139 countries. It will highlight the world's most pressing challenges and solutions to deal with them. For Komal Kharka in Dubai, this is Sunampem for BBS News.
Tashgang Dzong, an irreplaceable witness to the history of eastern Bhutan, will once again stand gloried with its conservation works complete by mid-next year. The conservation works started in 2013 after the Dzong suffered damages following the 2009 earthquake. About 70% of the work is complete. The 190 million NGT conservation project is funded by the Government of India.
Covered in dust, men and women are busy at work from dawn till dusk for the conservation of Tashgang Dzong. Around 150 people work daily. Most of the old wooden structures are replaced with new ones. The project officials said the traditional architecture of the Dzong will remain intact.
The East Face Catholic Dingati Malera, Jam Malera Foundation, Ipchi, Pit Beaji, Pit Buddha, Chutam Gida, Koko Tembe, Delit Malebe, the Ipchi East Pesky, Ekatogi Todi, the in the Jipa Ginangona Dugachi, Jakshukap, so say, and Notomela.
New components of the conservation project include drasa, tsokong, and kitchen, which are already complete. It will also have firefighting facilities, which are under construction at the Dzong's entrance. Tashgang Dzong was built in 1659 by the 3rd Desi Chogyal Minjur Temple. The Dzong, located on the mountain edge and majestically overlooking the Dangmechu, is a place for arts and crafts, religious and cultural events like daily rituals and annual festivals. For Seringzam in Tashgang, this is Sunampem for BBS News.
Some university graduate claims that the selection process for the post of wardens and matrons in Tashkent and Tashiangsi was not fair. They said class 12 graduates were selected, though it was clearly mentioned that the preferences shall be given to university graduates when the vacant posts were announced.
Few graduates who are not selected expressed disappointment over the selection process. They say it was unfair. 42 matrons and wardens were selected last week for schools in Trashigang and Trashiangsi. 126 applicants were shortlisted for the vacant post announced by the Education Ministry last month.
Pre-selected fresh class 12 pass out.
I feel it was pre-selected as there were fresh class 12 graduates without any experience. I completed my degree in 2011 and have some experience. I came all the way from Gedu with 2 children, hoping for the best, as it was written that preferences shall be given to the university graduates.
It was not clear at all, because what we have said was equivalent to that of others also, but they have selected just 12 more, I think so, compared to graduate. And moreover, those who are pass out, those who are seniors, they have not selected most, I think so. And those who are passed out from last year 2016, they are recruited so fast. I think it was pre-selected only, I can say that thing.
The experience the
They will have experience, but it depends on mark and percentage. And I feel it was pre-selected.
Meanwhile, Tashigang District's Chief Education Officer said the selection was conducted fairly by 6 panelists. He said 33 graduates and 9 class 12 graduates were selected based on their academic and viva performances.
Actually, this matron job is meant for class 12. Still then, while shortlisting time, the preference shall be given to university graduates, subject to fulfilling all the requirements. But during the viva time, we had asked so many questions. Some were personal in the sense we have asked whether they are married or not, roles and responsibilities of matron, and some of the graduates were not able to say even a word. Some of the graduates, they have only degree certificate. They don't have even co-curricular activities and certificate which they have participated during school time.
The selected wardens and matrons will be placed in 21 schools under the 2 districts by next week for 2 years contract term. Compiled for Siringzam in Kangdung, Yishi Gelson, BBS News.
Doroka Central School is facing difficulty in accommodating students after the school was changed into a central school. This year alone, the school admitted over 1,000 students but has limited hostels.
About 500 students live in 6 hostel blocks which has 3 rooms each. Each room is filled with 36 students. And students are facing difficulty adjusting in the already congested rooms. Currently, 4 students sleep on a bunk bed.
The bed is already very small, and on top of that, 2 people share a bed, making it difficult to breathe. I face difficulty not only in sleeping, but even to study. We can adjust when we study other subjects, but practicing mathematics is challenging. During summer, we can't sleep due to excessive heat.
Sometimes we don't fit on the small bed. We can at least adjust in winter but cannot bear the heat during the summer. 5 students share a small wardrobe to keep our things, and the things do not fit in sometimes.
In 2012, when I first reached Dorok High School, there was no admission pressure due to poor road condition and unreliable power supply, and there were just 700 students. But now, after government changed the school into a central school, there is admission pressure due to good facilities.
Students, meanwhile, are looking forward to the completion of a new hostel, which is currently under construction. But accommodating all 500 students in the 240-bedded hostel is still a concern.
Mapa duration di ngachi 2 years nila. Ta anigi ngachi before complete benigi ngachi ki namsami try pedo si nila.
Alogi seji din nami sami jankale tende bero maso ni digi. Tama lokhang chi din alo alogi jankale te wajin.
I saw many students in the school which is beyond the capacity of the hostels, and I saw students struggling in a congested place. So I decided to give my land to the government for the welfare of the students, and I even got land replacement. We have been supporting the construction of the new school.
Education Ministry awarded the construction works to JM Builder Private Limited earlier last year. The company said the work progress is good and almost 30% of the work has been complete. For Damchizam in Samsi, this is Sunampem for BBS News.
Respect and understanding grow when children of different abilities play and learn together. In order to make schools more inclusive, the recently endorsed Standards for Inclusive Education aim to improve the access and quality of education for all children with special needs in the country. The Standards for Inclusive Education is a tool to support schools towards becoming more inclusive for all children.
This tool will initially be tested in Changangkha Middle Secondary School in Thimphu, Truxel Institute and Truxel Lower Secondary School in Paro this year. The standards will provide guidance to schools to plan strategies to make classrooms more inclusive. Challenges such as physical infrastructure, teaching learning materials, and capacity development for teachers will all be looked into to cater to the needs of the children with special needs.
The standard for inclusive education say mebachin te seji jasa minobala.
If we do not have a standard, it is difficult to ensure the implementation of accessibility and quality. It was Education Minister's idea as well to come up with a standard. Some of the measures for the inclusion program have been taken from World Index for Inclusion. The standard is both for schools with special education need programs and schools without. They can use it as a guideline for school improvement and development towards more inclusion.
The standard is in line with the national education policy that states special educational needs of all students shall be catered to enhance both participation in education and the quality of learning.
In fact, the inclusion is one of the most important strategy that gives equal opportunity for learning and also participation in the society. By taking the people with disabilities in the mainstream, so people with other people who are not with disabilities, they have opportunity to learn about the needs of people with disabilities and also the strategies that are planned to teach people with disabilities will certainly benefit the people with ordinary students. So, people without disabilities.
Through this endorsement, it is expected that schools infuse values of inclusion by valuing diversity, dignity, and avoiding discrimination. Sunampem for BBS News.
Beginning this year, all schools under the WFP feeding program will receive fortified rice. Rice fortification is the practice of increasing the content of essential vitamins and minerals after harvesting to increase its nutritional value. This is to address the deficiency of micronutrients in the regular diet of children in schools.
But for the MOE,
according to the Health Ministry's study, following the outbreak of peripheral neuropathy in school children, there was a huge deficiency of micronutrients in the regular diet. And as rice is a staple food, it is considered the best vehicle to carry the needed nutrients.
Foods that were being provided in schools from the school meals were not enough to meet the requirements of the school children. And food fortification per se is a very innovative and very good intervention that will actually incorporate the micronutrients, which is otherwise very hard to get from the school meals in a medium that is very easy, that is consumed on a daily basis, which can sort of like improve the nutrition of the school children.
Fortified rice will initially be distributed to 172 schools with WFP feeding program. It is imported from Bangladesh. Fortified rice is made by mixing rice flour with vitamins, minerals and water. The mixture is then made into a dough. After that, the dough is passed through a machine that cuts it into rice-shaped grains. Then a small amount of this rice is mixed with the ordinary white rice to add in the micronutrients.
Government, after the outbreak of the peripheral neuropathy, has been providing supplementation with thiamine. That is something that you can do, but some like it, some take it, some don't take it, and it costs a lot of money, while everybody eats rice. So you just add it to the rice, and that way it tastes exactly the same, but you make sure that the children get the necessary micronutrients.
The government is also planning to supply fortified rice to other schools that are not included in the WFP feeding program. With additional information from Pema Tsawang, this is Sunam Pem for BBS News.
Sandalwood smuggling in Paro and Ha decreased drastically in the last 2 years compared to 2014. According to forest officials in Paro, the number reduced after the Supreme Court considered illegal import of sandalwood as a fourth-degree felony in 2015.
Sandalwood smuggling was once rampant in Paro and Ha. 19 cases were reported to Forest Office in Paro in 2014. However, the number of cases declined to 6 in 2015 and to 2 cases in 2016. The officials credit the Supreme Court's order to forward the case to court for the drop in number of smuggling cases, besides strict patrolling done by the foresters.
Those who do this illegal business on sandalwood, this will fall under the fourth-degree felony. So the offender will be charged under the court of law. So they will have to pay the fine and compensation as assessed by the Forest and Nature Conservation Rules and Acts. Besides, they have to serve the prison term ranging from 3 to 5 years. So because of this prison term, I think most of the offenders now, they are scared of staying behind the bar.
He said both the dealers in India and China are believed to be apprehended by their respective governments, leaving a less market for Bhutanese smugglers. Despite the imprisonment, smugglers have to pay a compensation of 750 ngultram per kilogram of sandalwood and a fine of 50,000 ngultram. The dealers are also fined 3,000 ngultram per horse and 100,000 ngultram for a vehicle. Compiled for Sangichungzom in Paro, Yishe Gelson, BBS News.
There should be provisions for lifts in the buildings with 5 floors and above. It was decided during a 2-day 5th annual Tomde coordination meeting in Finsoling.
The Bhutan Building Rules 2002 specifies the need for lifts once the level of the building is 5th floor or more. Considering its positive impact, the meeting decided to implement the rule in 4 Tomdes.
Bhutan has a very limited space to increase the growth, to increase horizontally, but we have no choice but to increase vertically. When we increase the vertical height of the building, then I think the residents, whosoever is living there, Tinians, be it anyway, whosoever is living there, so it consists of aged people, some disabled people. So in the long run, if we don't maintain these facilities, it would be very problematic for our people.
Even if the owner is not able to install the lift immediately, they should at least keep the provisions for the lift. The rule is not applicable to the old buildings though. For Sonam Penjur in Finsling, Dojjama, BBS News.
More than 9 million ngitam will be spent to establish the country's first Yak Breeding Center in Ha with support from the Bhutan Trust Fund for Environment Conservation. The farm in future is expected to improve the breed and conserve yak farming in the country. With the current yak population of over 38,000, Bhutan has the third highest yak population in the world after China and Mongolia.
Yak farming in Bhutan is an important source of livelihood for highland transhuman herders of 10 Songkhaks. Yak farming is also recognized as a critical part for maintaining the mountain ecosystem and for safeguarding the northern frontiers by exercising their traditional grazing rights in the alpine pasture lands. However, over the years, this trend has been declining.
Social-economic development in the urban and pre-urban areas, these herders have been migrating down to the lowlands, and because of all these consequences, the yak population has been declining, and then even the yak genetic resources have been deteriorating, and that's the reason now we wanted to set up a farm.
Besides interventions such as enabling policy on grazing rights, integrated yak service center, livelihood development through yak farming will be carried out. The center will also initiate yak farming as rural economic enterprise linking to ecotourism to benefit and encourage the highlanders. In the first phase of the project, the farm will do a scientific selection of the yak bulls and breed them to supply to other areas, followed by semen collection technique and improving the eco-based tourism linked to yak farming as per the Department of Livestock. The National Yak Breeding Farm in Ha will be fully operational only by next year. Sonam Funso for BBS News.
Truxel Vocational Center for Special Children and Youth in Tashkent is going door to door to sensitize parents and physically challenged people on the services offered by the center. Many parents still keep their children with special needs at home due to lack of awareness.
Officials from Truxel East in Tashkent are going door to door to advocate parents and disabled people on the services offered by the center. They are visiting homes in targeted villages under 5 eastern districts. According to the principal of Truxel East, some parents still believe that people with disability should be kept at homes.
After
visiting 3 to 4 Geoks, we came to know that most parents do not have any idea regarding the services provided by Truxel Institute, as they are mostly living in remote areas. While creating awareness today, we received positive response from parents saying that they want to send their children with disabilities to our institute.
Some parents said they could not send their children to school due to disabilities in their children. Some of them said they cannot afford to send their children to Truxel. But the advocacy campaign has helped some parents to take decision in sending their disabled children to the center.
I came to know about Truxel from one of our health staff. Before that, I didn't know. They insisted to take my daughter last year, but she refused. But this year, I'm definitely going to send her.
Today, when officials shared with us about the services provided to the disabled people, I think it is a good opportunity for parents like us to send our children living with disabilities. So I have decided to take my son to Truxel soon.
The advocacy program was organized for the first time with support from Open Your Heart to Bhutan, a UK-based charity to help children with special needs. For Sonam Darge and Singzam in Kanglung, this is Pasa for BBS News.
The Bhutan Karate Association disapproves of Bhutan Institute of Martial Arts participation in the 22nd Asian International Karate Championship last week. The association said it was unauthorized and against the constitution.
Bhutan Karate Association, according to its program officer, is the only legal association affiliated to Bhutan Olympic Committee to promote the sport of karate in the country. They said Bhutan Institute of Martial Arts is neither a member nor an affiliated club of Bhutan Karate Association.
Every sport associations and federation in Bhutan are affiliated to Bhutan Olympic Committee, and they have their own set of rules and regulations. In terms of karate, Bhutan Karate Association has also got our own set of rules and regulations. Constitution of Bhutan Karate Associations, Article number 7.9 states that without the approval and consent of Bhutan Karate Association, no individual person or club is allowed to start or function and conduct karate activities in the country, as well as participate in any ex-country or international games.
On the other hand, Bhutan Institute of Martial Art claims they are an autonomous institute with a license approved by the Labour and Economic Affairs Ministries.
Our institute has been registered, so we have been running our institute as an autonomous, not under any of the agencies. So we have not received such kind of guidelines or any instructions from the Royal Government of Bhutan to run under any of the associations or federations. That, as far as our idea, we don't have such registered or approved as federations, associations. Our institute should root through.
The Bhutan Olympic Committee had no comments over the issue, as the Martial Arts Institute is not affiliated with the committee. The Karate Association is planning to interrogate and take appropriate action. 22 athletes led by the Bhutan Institute of Martial Arts took part in the International Karate Championship held in Mumbai last week. The team won 26 medals and was declared the best performer among the 8 participating countries. Poop Game for BBS News.
Well, that's all we have for you this week. Thank you for joining us. Until next time, goodbye.